All right, we're launching a new segment here on City News. Every day at this time, Richard Southern will join us from the 680 News Business Center to look at some of the top money-related stories of the day. First, let's start with Forever 21 filing for bankruptcy. Richard, it's just the latest example of a retail chain going belly up.
Sure is. I mean, nothing's forever in life, is it, Mark? And that's, especially true for this fashion retailer, which has been around since 1984, but has filed for bankruptcy. Forever 21 has 44 stores here in Canada. They are going to remain open through this process, so perhaps some deals to be had in the interim. You know, like other companies, it's very much the victim of more money going online, less people visiting malls. You know, it also made a name with cheap fashion that came with cheap price tags, more people looking for quality. Look at this list here of the notable bankruptcies we've seen over the past couple of years. Everyone from Sears to Diesel, Payless Shoes, Nine West, Claire's, Radio Shack, even, of course, Toys R Us, Mark, in the United States. So it's a pretty big list there, and it's the retail apocalypse, as they call it, continuing.
Well, speaking of apocalypse, perhaps something that may not come as a shock to many people here in Toronto, it takes someone more than 3 decades to afford a home in the city.
Yeah, when we're talking here about a down payment, Zoo Castle looking at this, the average household income in the GTA, Mark, just about $78,000, nowhere near enough to qualify for a mortgage for the average house, which is above $800,000. So, you know, if you wanted to buy an average home with that average salary, you're going to have a down payment of $500,000. Zoo Castle says it would take the average person 32 years to save for that down payment. That means, Mark, if you wanted to buy today, you would have had to have started saving back in September of 1987 when David Peterson's Liberals had just won a majority at Queen's Park, and topping the charts was Rick Astley with Never Gonna Give You Up. So, no, you're not getting rickrolled, Mark. It takes that long now to get into the Toronto housing market.
Rick Astley. Nice of you to work that in there. Okay. So, speaking of old times, if you like snail mail, you might want to listen up. Richard, apparently Canada Post is racking up some pretty big fines here in Toronto.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised because we see a lot of shots like this around the city, right, with these mail vans and other delivery vans forced to pull over and sometimes park illegally to make their deliveries and their pickups. Canada Post has racked up $1 million in annual parking fines as drivers struggle to navigate those congested city streets. Data shows the Crown Corporation has paid out $7.5 million in parking fines over the past 10 years. Canada Post says there's a growing number of addresses downtown. Everyone wants to live in the downtown core, and there's a demand for more pickups and deliveries because of all the online shopping, and therefore they're racking up more and more parking tickets, something the Crown Corporation picks up. The drivers don't have to pay for the parking tickets unless they're parked in a handicapped space, apparently, Mark.
True. Well, we'll close this segment each day with a look at some gas prices and some of the stories you'll be bringing up later in the 6 o'clock hour.
No change for the price of gas tonight. It's going to hold around $1.17.9, and coming up at about 6:40, we're going to look at Elon Musk's updated plans to go to Mars. Mark.
Perfect. Thanks, Richard.
Thanks.
We'll talk to you a little later.
Thanks.